All right, welcome back, everybody. This is a new live stream. We're going to take we're going to do something a little different. So we're going to concentrate on the Passport Bros today. As you can see the title, it says Passport Bros flying to Kenya for all the wrong reasons. So it'll be Passport Bros and the subject of Kenya as being the destination. So today's date is 22 August 2023 for the record. And I have a special guest with us today. He's been on before. Call me controversial. Thank you for coming in. Okay, let's go. Thank you for coming in as well. And we're gonna talk about the Passport Bros, of course, but we're also gonna go ahead and go in a little bit more about what the Passport Bros really are. There seems to be misconceptions about who they are, the Passport Sisters and the Passport Grannies. And yes, my friend from the Gambia started the name the Passport Grannies, but we're not going to talk about the Passport Sis or the Passport Grannies today. That'll be for another time. We're going to talk about the Passport Bros today because they're the ones that are leading the charge as far as a popular name. They're no different than any other Passport Bro other than they're advertising what they're doing a lot on YouTube, Facebook, even on Reddit. I found a lot of stuff on Reddit with these guys. Some of them are doing YouTube and Reddit at the same time. Some of them are just concentrating on Reddit, I guess maybe because of the competition. And another thing about these guys that I've noticed over the past couple of years is that a lot of them are in competition with one another, especially if they have a YouTube channel. And it's crazy. It makes no sense other than they're just trying to get those views. They're trying to live out this lifestyle of being a sexpat all over the place and having their subscribers pay for their lifestyle, because majority of these guys are working a 9-to-5 job back in the States or whatever country they come from, and they can't afford to do this at all. So without further ado, let me go ahead and bring on my guest. KLA, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Kufo Fanta.
Okay, great. And also, I want to do a mic check. Can everybody in the chat hear the both of us? Are we loud and clear for you? If not, we'll make some adjustments. And by the way, KLA, I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for being here, by the way.
Thank you.
So I just need one person. Oh, what was that again?
I hope we are loud and clear. Everyone can hear as well.
I hope so too. So this is okay. Loud and clear. Okay, let's go. Says loud and clear. All right. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna say hello to a few more people that came in. We have Richard that came in. We also have Brenda Jimenez that has come in. And thank you all for being here. We got 8 people. Go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and donate a like if you like. Please do so. I'd appreciate it. And that will help push this live stream out to other people out there. So the more people we get in to talk about this particular subject, the better. And, you know, majority of this particular topic with that title, Passport Bros, there's not, okay, there is, but then there's not mostly people critiquing to basically go against this. It's mostly people promoting it, and usually the people that are promoting it are them. So there's a lot of YouTube channels out there, and very few are being arrested for the crimes that they're committing. However, it doesn't mean that just because of that they're all going to get away with it forever. The other thing too is we hope that some of them change, that they just stop doing it. Actually, not some, but all, that they just stop doing it. So, because prostitution doesn't benefit anybody in any country, even in the countries that it's legal, which is very few, it doesn't benefit society. It actually it's the same issues. They have the same social issues in those countries with that particular issue than the countries where it's already illegal. So with that being said, thank you, Columbus Hill, for coming in. Chemo, I see you as well. KLA, go ahead and start it off with what it is that you wanted to talk about the Passport Bros and the effects that it's having.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Thank you everyone for tuning in. This is Kung Fu Fanta channel, and I'll be his co-host today. And this is a very interesting topic that we are covering because it's covering my beloved country, Kenya. And for the last 1 year, there's been a traction of people moving to Kenya as quote unquote and say passport bros. Either they're from the Americas or either they're from the UK or from the Europe. But in particularly, now we see a huge number of black persons coming to the continent of Africa, and that makes this thing to be talked about. So there are many points I'm putting across. I'll be putting across tonight or today for those who it's morning, for those at night. So stay tuned. We're having more content coming in, and we are gonna start with this content. What I feel are the reasons for the passport bros, and what are the repercussions. So I found the first repercussion: the price to be paid involved. And actually, with this particular part, I now want to start is because I feel the one who is paying the price of the passport bro movement are the women of that particular country. In more so to say Kenya, because if a passport bro comes to your country and either pimps a woman out to another brother or uses the woman for his own satisfaction, or just plays around the idea of a passport bro to the congregation of a local woman, more so now we are talking about Kenya, I found that to my own research that there's a woman, the woman suffers a mental health. The mentality of the woman is affected. And in incidents whereby we have a very good example that happened between last month. A Rwandese woman, we tend to believe that right now she might be stressed out of the actions of a passport bro movement. And if this goes the long way, that the woman has the kid with the passport bro, and the passport bro decides to leave back to their respective country, we feel that the woman will be left behind with a kid without a father. And we know about the father figure is very essential for the kid. Another point that I came across in my own research is that this woman value has gone up. She can't date any local person anymore. She tends to see, because the passport bro doesn't come peacefully. The passport bro comes in with money. It comes in with pride, with ego, and that ego is brushed into the woman's feeling, and the woman tends to think that she can no longer associate herself with a local anymore. And these are the prices that are involved with a passport bro moving to countries, more so now that we are talking about Kenya. So this is my first research. So I will want us to go dig. Kung Fu Fanta will come in and expound on this as we will go to the next one and the next one and the next one. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that, KLA. And we're going to hear a lot more from KLA tonight. We're probably going to go maybe 90 minutes to 2 hours on this. I don't want to exceed 2 hours. And basically, what he talked about with the Rwandese woman, I'm sure a lot of you, Coco Mama and stuff, has addressed this, as well as I believe Black Beauty also addressed this. So basically, what's happening with a lot of these passport bros, well, men in particular, it doesn't have to be a passport bro. Any man that finds interest in a woman and she just so happens to not be a prostitute. Often what happens with these guys is that they will try to stimulate the woman in accepting money in some way, and maybe even lie to her, and he has it in his mind that this is going to be my one night stand for the night, but I need to pay her. Okay, get this. I need to pay her in order for me not to have any commitment to her. So what these guys do, when men go out looking for prostitutes, and a few of them are married, what they do is they don't want any responsibility of a real girlfriend or responsibility to an actual wife. They want all that responsibility to be left behind. But they're still a man, so they still want the company of a woman, but they don't want the company of a woman as we would probably say in a normal relationship. In a normal relationship, you're not just going to be, having the pillow talk and all that other stuff. You're going to have to talk about the bills. You're going to have to talk about kids if there's kids involved. You're going to have to talk about everything that in a normal relationship you have to deal with. So these guys don't want to have to deal with that in order to be with the woman. They want to cut all that out. So they rather pay to play, as it's called, in order to bypass all that. So I have a few videos that I'm going to play for you guys. This is going to be one particular story, but it's 3 segments from 3 different media houses in Kenya. This took place in 2013 of a passport bro that was arrested. And I want you to pay very close attention. The first 2 videos are just over 3 minutes. And the last one is less than 3 minutes, but we're not going to go all the way through that. But something on the third one is very important, that on the first one, they're going to say something in the first one, but there's going to be a correction in the third one that's going to oppose the first one. Okay, so everybody, this one, again, was 10 years ago in 2013. And I was in Kenya at this time when a passport bro was arrested in Mombasa. And here's the story.
It is this home in Nyali Estate in Mombasa that is now at the heart of police investigations, piecing together a scam of international proportions, where local girls are lured into the shooting of pornographic videos, sometimes with dogs, as was the case when they were nabbed last week. 11 girls and a Swiss national who is reported to be a former employee of the United Nations are in police custody. The former UN employee, it is emerging, has been using a car bearing United Nations registration plates long after his term of duty in the country expired. The Kisauni District Criminal Investigations Officer Shadrach Juma remains confident that the team will get to the bottom of this.
It's a syndicate, and when even also in the passport it shows that this man had also been conducting the same trade in Madagascar. It's not only in Kenya. It's been going around African countries. So it's like the business is used to be conducting all over the continent.
15 laptops that were recovered during the raid and the arrest of 11 girls at Nyali Estate were today flown to Nairobi in an effort to gather more evidence for use by the prosecution. Other leads the investigative team is establishing is the whereabouts of a businesswoman from Karatina. The woman is reported to have escaped arrest when police raided the Nyali home. The former United Nations employee, a Swiss national, was found in the house at the scene of the pornographic shoot.
They take the photographs through the computers or the laptops and then send those pictures abroad. So there are various countries where they send those pornographic pictures. And once we get the results, maybe from the CD headquarters, we'll be able to know which countries or which places exactly they've been sending these photographs or pornographic materials.
Motorbike operators around the home expressed shock, saying they had been ferrying a huge number of girls into the residential home rented by the foreigner, completely unaware of what was going on.
Na huwa tunaleta hapa wanawake wengi sana hapa. Mara nyingi sana tumeleta wanawake, lakini hatujui vya sarakani wanafanya hapa. Lakini jambo ambalo lilitokea jana, kusemekana ya kwamba hapa bwana kuna jibwa yenyewe ndiye analala na hao wanawake, tulishangaa sana.
Weighing in on the incident, government spokesman Modhoi Kariuki said the government would get to the bottom of the incident and ensure the safety of its citizens.
In Kenya, those things are not only unconstitutional, but cannot be allowed to take root in this country.
Muslim religious leaders from Mombasa also expressed shock over the incident and called on police to conduct conclusive investigations.
Hatutaki uchunguzi huu uishie chini chini. Tuwataka kesi Jumanne ikiletwa kotini, uchunguzi huo umekamilika, wote wanahusika mashtaka yafunguliwe.
All the 11 suspects were arraigned in court on Friday and have since been remanded. Chris Wangombe, Sunday Live.
Okay, KLA. So that first one was from Citizen TV, and there was
Yes, and the law was in Swahili.
Yes. So the first gentleman on the mic, as well as the Muslim brother, can you go ahead and just let everybody know that doesn't know Swahili what both of those men were saying?
Okay, the Muslim brother was talking about this should not be allowed, and the government should investigate and prosecute the people who are perpetrators of this insidious act, because, you know, for the Muslims, they wouldn't condone this, and being that this act was being operated in a local place that 80% or let's say 70% are Muslims. So you could see the agitation from the sheikh or the imam and asking the government to take stronger action against the perpetrators. And
Okay.
from what I saw, because I know a little bit about the story, because I'm from the Nyali area, and you could see literally the person was targeting college-going students who would not have enough money for upkeep, you know.
Right. That's very important. College students.
Yes.
That's very important to.
Students, yes.
Yeah.
You could see they were going for college students who are finding it hard to have upkeep, and you could see that the women or the girls or the kids or the students had lost respect to the society. You could see I'm still talking about the price that is being involved here. There's loss of values. They've decided to throw the values out, like some of the people we know, and also making the girls lazy. You can imagine if you go make just a funny video and you come out with a little bit of money that can keep you. This person wouldn't want to work even after finishing this school. I don't think they will pursue that course. So you can see there is also, I'll come up with there's also an erosion of the society. What people are supposed to be doing are now being taught new ways which are not productive to the society. So it's also killing the society. And you could see even the government saying it's not only unconstitutional, but it's also illegal to practice.
Correct.
This. Yes.
And that was 2013. That was 2013, everybody.
And that
Okay.
was not even a black person. That was somebody from Swiss.
Right, right. And then not only that, he used to work for the UN. He was driving a government car. At one point, his visa was 90 days. He was renting that house. He had like I think it was a 2-year lease. So he was planning to like leave, come back, and keep doing this on an ongoing basis. The gentleman said that he was going all around the African continent to different countries. He even mentioned the island of Madagascar, doing the same thing. So you can imagine this guy is one of those people on one of those popular websites out there, most likely, and he's making money. So he's not only committing crimes, but I know for a fact if he paid 2 years for that, right? And he used to work for the UN where he pretty much got, you know, a pretty good paycheck when he worked there. He's making a lot more money. And so the root of the problem,
services for free.
Right. And so a lot of this, you know, it goes back to the money. And remember what I said in my other live streams over the weekend is that, you know, people will do just about anything for money. And not only that, the one thing about it, I'm sure some people in the chat picked this up, and don't mention anything on this, KLA, because there's another video that's going to talk about this.
Sure.
They say that there was a dog involved in the shoot. Yeah. There was a dog involved. So just keep that in mind, because we're going to hit back that a little bit later. But I want to go ahead and go to the second segment, which is the same thing, but a different station. And the guy that was speaking on the microphone, you know, the investigator, I think it was, he has a little more extra information that this particular newsreel did not have. So let's go ahead and check that out right now.
trafficking, and police are pursuing a Kenyan woman who is said to be an accomplice to a foreigner who was arrested with 11 women shooting pornographic movies in Mombasa. Kisiaoni DCIO Shadrach Juma says that the woman was working hand in hand with that foreigner for the last few months. KTN's Angel Katusia reports on this latest development on the controversial incident.
The 12 people, among them 11 Kenyan women and a foreigner who were arrested allegedly shooting a pornographic movie with a dog in a posh house in Mombasa's Nyali area, await the court's process. Police are pursuing a Kenyan woman who is said to be an accomplice to the man. Kisauni DCIO Shadrach Juma says the woman, believed to be from Karatina in Nyeri County, has been working with the man.
I have to charge this white man along with 11 girls with various offenses relating to pornographic practices, and the other one would be exploitation of prostitutions, which is contrary to section 17B of the Sexual Offences Act.
Police have also revealed that the foreigner, who is a former Swiss military officer, arrived in the country in March this year and is expected to be in the country for 90 days. Though his passport indicates he should be in the country for 3 months, the man is said to have rented this house for 46 million shillings for a 2-year period. According to police, the man started his business of shooting pornographic movies in Nairobi before moving to Mombasa. During a raid in the rented house, police discovered 15 laptops which have been transferred to the CID headquarters for investigations. Police are also investigating why the man who worked for the UN is still using a car with UN number plates despite having completed his contract at the UN. Religious leaders at the coast have condemned the alleged actions of the foreigner and called on the youth to deviate from such lifestyles.
For us Christians, any form of immorality between men and women, or men alone and men and animals, it's not compatible with our faith.
Deputy President William Ruto said the government will not tolerate foreigners who come into the country to perpetrate vices such as pornography, a message echoed by the government spokesman.
Tumemwambia watu wa internal security, watu kama hawa hawafai kuwa katika taifa letu la Kenya. Wapandishwe ndege waende kwao.
The government is not going to hesitate from getting hold of you in keeping with the terms of the law, be you a Kenyan or a foreigner.
The 12 face several sexual offense charges and will appear in court again on Tuesday. Angel Katuse, KTN, Sunday night.
Okay, so there was a little more information there. So basically, you can tell if for the people that are here, and if the people are not here on the first video, just rewind it back to that part, so that way you get the information from the first video. So again, he used to be in the Swiss military. So this guy used to be in the Swiss military. You know, I salute the people in the military, but unfortunately, you know, there's a lot of those guys, not all of them, but a lot of those guys, when they go out to sow their wild oats, a lot of them, what they're doing is they're going after prostitutes. And that basically, I think maybe the Swiss military and being in the UN is what got him to be a passport bro. That's just my opinion. But here's the other thing about passport bros. And a passport bro means you have to, you know, a sex tourist, you actually have to leave your country with a passport to do the same thing you would do in your own country. So when they're not going to other countries, and no matter what they say in some of these chat rooms or whatever, they do mess with local prostitutes when they're not going overseas. They're not going to wait 8 or 9 months to save money just so they can do that same thing overseas because it's cheaper. Or they can get the quote unquote so-called, what some of them are dubbing as the girlfriend experience. So basically, what's your thoughts on the second one? With a little more information, KLA, what do you got to say about this so far?
Yeah, what about I want to say is like you know, the Kenyan law that prohibits pornographic acting and more so also prostitution to some level, and you could see him being prosecuted with pornographic acting, indecent. There was one that was done by another TV station. I don't remember which one, because they also talked about indecent act with with bestiality. I remember that because I was in Kenya at that time. And
Yeah.
prostitution, he was also fined on misuse of prostitution, according to the law, whichever the law is said. And there's one important thing that we have not talked about. He was using cars registered under UN, and his legal term at work at the UN had ended. And actually, with his visas, he had overstayed. And how he was staying in the country is another question that we need to ask ourselves. How he was using the UN cars and not being asked to take it back, that's another thing. So we do not know the motives behind it, but we find him being a funny character who has come and is getting maybe he thought maybe the government is a bit reluctant and was taking advantage of that. And you could see the deputy president at that time, who is now the current president,
Yeah.
Dr. William Ruto, mentioning this. So with people now also trying to bring these passport bros back to Kenya, and now that is catching the flame, I'm a little bit worried for them, because I think the president is not somebody to play around with. He doesn't mince his word.
Yeah, and the other thing too, everybody, is like I said, I was in Kenya when this happened. Actually, I think I got to Kenya like it was the first week of April, because I was there when President Uhuru Kenyatta was inaugurated on the 9th of April. I remember it exclusively because me and my wife were debating on if we're going to go down to the stadium and watch the inauguration. We decided not to. And then this happened a month later. So one of the reasons I think KLA definitely is that, you know, the reason why he overstayed some of his visas is that addiction to making money. I mean, obviously he was making a lot of money, because even if you have to leave the country for 24, 48, however many hours it's going to take to renew your visa the right way by leaving, he could have just went to Tanzania and back. But, you know, a lot of people, they don't do that. They just go back to their European country or America and then come right back. That's going to take a lot of time out. And I can only imagine, depending on how his operation was set up. And remember, they said they seized 15 laptop computers. I can only imagine that he had some editors and stuff like that. Was probably editing the videos, uploading the videos, multiple videos to multiple sites, and all that time is money. And so again, money is what these guys are after. And then of course, just the regular old Joe, the customer, he's still a predator, because he's coming to somebody else's country to manipulate the environment. So that means going after the women to manipulate the environment, taking advantage of people in poverty, which is usually the case. So they always want to get something very cheap. And you should see some of these, maybe sometime in the future, I'll bring out some of these conversations that these guys have with each other on YouTube, and some of the blatant crimes that they admit to committing. And some of the videos where this one, actually a couple guys that they didn't pay the prostitutes in Brazil. It was either Brazil or Colombia. And the women wouldn't leave, and they were filming, and the guys didn't know, but they were so irate, they were putting their hands on the women, like trying to force them out of the apartment. And so basically these guys spent money to go to Colombia or Brazil, whichever country it was. And then they didn't want to pay. So these guys are trying to take advantage of anything. These guys are absolute predators when they do this. And you can imagine that a lot of these women, as we know, they have kids, and then they have to go home with all that stress to their kids. And it's just sickening. It's just sickening. Do you have anything else to say about that, KLA?
Yeah, actually, it's very sickening, as you said, that we see the moral values of our societies are going to be affected by such kind of acts. The culture, like you can imagine creating these passport bros, going to disturb the ecosystem of the Maasai people and changing all that, making them to, we know what happens with this kind of shoots. The dress code will change, the behavior will change. We'll see that the Maasai having long nails. You can imagine eroding that culture, that natural culture that has been there in existence for many years.
Right.
And also just trying also now for the Kenyans, just trying to change how we're dating, because because I was not supposed to mention this, but let me mention this because I know to be maybe in our future discussions, because just trying to change the dating scene. Before Kenya had a natural dating scene before the soap operas was introduced to the community. So let me just mention a little bit of the soap opera. The soap opera came and disrupted, and now we have something. We have a different new way of dating in Kenya, because it was introduced by the soap opera, making the man weak, that the man has to simp for the woman. Yes.
Looks like he dropped off there. Until he comes back, I just want to let you know, and I wasn't sure if I was to believe this. This was years ago, and when he mentioned the Maasai.
The intention is, but
okay, hold on. You dropped out, KLA, for about maybe a good 30 seconds. So wherever you left off about 30 seconds ago. But before you do that, I already started on something real quick, but I'm going to be finished real quick.
Okay.
I had a friend that I met here in the States that is a Maasai, and when he told me that the Maasai was mentioned in the Bible as one of the many tribes in Israel, because there was a lot of tribes from all over the surrounding area that would go in and out for trade and all that other stuff. Maasai is in the Bible. That was one of the tribes. There's very few tribes that were mentioned, but that was one of the tribes that was mentioned. So yeah, the Maasai from Kenya and Tanzania used to migrate back and forth to Israel. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I will do actually a video about the Maasai land use. So maybe people will be staying tuned. I will also share with you that. So another thing, they're making the women feel that they got no values. That's one thing that I noticed from them. The moral thing they do, the morality of the woman is being destroyed by making them feel inferior, making them feel that they're not important, that they're just to be used and throw out. And also there is also this new concept of passport bro, like a one night stand in. It's like, okay, I'm just having this woman for today, and tomorrow I'll try because I'm not in the country for long. So they have a very wrong attitudes towards the morality of the society they get themselves into. So if somebody is coming to the country, genuinely he should come and integrate with the people, learn the cultures and everything, but not practice passport bro. And also this also I find it also creating a lot of conflict. We've seen many passport bros who have come to Kenya complaining that the men in Kenya are agitated by them dating their women. We are not, but we are just complaining because I'm a Kenyan. I'll speak as a Kenyan. We are not complaining that our women are dating them, but we are complaining what they are doing to our women. And it is actually bringing some brawl between us and anybody who's coming in as a passport bro. And it's not only America, because also we have other African countries coming to Kenya and saying Kenyan men are stingy, or Kenyan men are not giving 100% to the women. But these are our women. We know how we treat them. We know how they're our own sisters. So there's no other way we can treat our sisters badly, but we just give them, we just act with them the way we are supposed to be acting with them. So there's also a lot of fighting when the passport bro come. There's that ego society mentality they come with. They come in with that high status, that they got the dollar or they got high currencies, that their money can go a long run. And it's a lot to talk about what the passport bros are doing right now in Kenya. And sadly, is that by December, I'm predicting by December it will be a full-blown explosion. People, the flights that will be coming in, I don't know, maybe Kenya Airways will increase the flights from JKF Kennedy to Nairobi. I don't know, maybe if they're doing 2, maybe they'll need to do 5.
Well, in the month of December, most people won't even fly. These passport bros are so cheap. The month of December, if a plane ticket is about $1,400 round trip, it's usually about $3,000 to $4,000 round trip in the month of December. So I don't think they're going to wait before or after that.
Okay, so
So,
they're gonna come, but soon they will come, because I've been
right.
seeing everyone is like, I'm packing my bags. Thank you so and so for showing us the way, leading us the way. So I'm like, oh man, we're just gonna have a bigger situation than what we have.
Right. Yeah, and later on, I'm not going to do it anytime soon, but there's a particular passport bro from the States in Uganda. Well, there's 2, but this one that I'm talking about right now, he actually assaulted a Ugandan citizen, and he filmed it. He had the guy under duress. Basically, it
was asking for the bicycle.
Yeah, you seen that one, right?
Yeah, I seen that.
That was in 2021. That was probably like maybe May or June of 2021.
The guy was just trying to make some little money, and he took it an offense on the Ugandan guy.
Right, and you know what the real deal is with that whole situation is the guy. Okay, if what the guy was saying is true, that the bike wasn't put together right, what he had done is he didn't do a good job putting the bike together. But what he did do was sell him what he wanted, and he didn't try to rip him off. But here's the thing: he made a part 2 of that, and the part 2 was his crazy explanation of how he justified attacking this guy, and he attacked him to where Ugandans outside of the compound couldn't see, because if he would have done that outside the walls, there would have been a mob. There would have been a mob, and he knows it. That's why he did it the way he did. And even in the second one, he filmed the guy that sold him the bike originally, because he's giving his money back. And he said he had 2 goons with him this time, so he had protection when he came back to give the money back. But this guy is always on YouTube trying to be like the bully, and he's one of the guys that's in competition with these other guys. But later on down the road, I'm going to bring that video out, and then I'm going to do like a part 2. Maybe I'll do it all in one live stream. I don't know, because when you put both of those videos together, it's pretty long. I might do a part 2. Well, I would do a part 2 if I don't put them together, because you got to hear his crazy ideas of why he attacked this guy. So there's a lot of self-entitlement within this guy's voice. And there's a lot of, when you even look at Austin thinks he's entitled to women.
Yeah,
he's entitled to women that are prostitutes. And if they're not a prostitute, he's entitled, the way that he feels, to make a woman a prostitute for the day without her knowing that she's a prostitute for the day. Rosa Jackson, thank you for coming in. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like for the Rwandan woman, I think that right now the woman is quite in a big despair.
Yeah, and that woman, she wasn't the winner, but she was a top reigning contestant for the Rwandan Miss Rwanda 2022. Oh, so yeah, a lot of people don't know that, but yeah, she was a runner up for that, and I think she made it in the top 10. But she's well known in Rwanda. She's very well respected in Rwanda, and she had no idea what a sex passport bro is. Basically, I'm sure she's had conversation with parents and friends, but she really didn't know what one was, in the form of Austin.
Yeah, because Austin claims that he's not a passport bro.
But
I just
when he started saying that is after he got chased out of Brazil. That's when he started saying that. But just what was it? I think it was like 2 or 3 months ago. He was hanging out with a bunch of these passport bros on a live stream, and he admitted that he was one. but he'll tell you, you know, depending on what the situation is on camera, he's not one. You know, it's these guys, and even the women that do this is just crazy. Their minds are is as if they're on drugs, like some type of weird drug, and it's like they're on a different planet. They okay, they have their own way of conversation, but if you look at Marwa, to be honest with you, if you look at Marwa and the way that he is, these guys are just like him. So if people are used to looking at
Well, that
Marwa
is
on
an
camera,
African.
yeah, but these guys are American and European and sometimes Asian that are coming over and behaving just like Marwa. You know, but then some of them are wearing 3-piece suits like Austin. In Austin, in the beginning, he wasn't wearing 3-piece suits. He was wearing tank tops, wife beaters, and all that other stuff when he was in Brazil, in Colombia.
Mhm.
You know what a wife beater is?
No, I don't know him.
It's basically when a man wears a T-shirt and it has no sleeves and it just goes to the end of the shoulder. Those are called wife beaters.
Ah,
It's just a nickname here in the States, but it's
okay.
basically like if you want to imagine a low life guy, you know, a guy who wears a T-shirt like that, you know, and he beats his wife. Well, that T-shirt ended up getting the poor rap of being called a wife beater if you wear one of those. So, yeah.
It's
Um,
kind of funny.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this, because I've seen some of these passport bros talk about going into the villages of Kenya,
Yeah,
and
because
they want to
the
explore
Kenyans,
the villages. What do you think about
because
that?
the Kenyans who are on the chat, I've been advising them that that's not even a Kenyan woman. That's a woman on the red light street. So they've been advising them that a real Kenyan woman will be from the villages. So now this narrative has changed from the cities now to the villages.
Right. So, you know, I'm gonna give some people here some of my own experience, just being in Kenya and what I see with my own eye, and I've been seeing it for years. My wife is from a particular town by Mount Kenya, and it's where the Kenya Air Base is for their Air Force and their military base, and one of their, not their main, but one of their main police forces and everything. It's also the same place where sometimes the Italian military, sometimes the British military, and other militaries, you know, if they have a contract with the Kenyan government, they'll do their training there for like desert combat training, because there's a desert it's kind of like semi-desert, but they go off from this town and start training in that area. And even the American military was there for a short stint. I think it was during the Iraq conflict, I believe it was.
Kibaki time when they were also fighting. The war started in the Kenyan army when they invaded Somalia.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, because my brother-in-law told me that, and he said when one of the American helicopters flew up, he said he's never seen a helicopter that big before. But yeah, so here's the thing: that town, because of the military, it's like there was one time that I was there, and I just happened to be there when the British military came there for, I guess, for a couple months, and they just got there. But before they just got there, that town transformed from the locals to a lot of people from other parts of Kenya who were women, and a lot of them were prostitutes, and they were only there to service the men from Britain because they knew they were going to make more money. We're talking like a lot of women that do this full time in Mombasa, Nairobi. They all came to that town, and so this whole thing is crazy. Some of them get married out of that, but that's not too many. That's not too many. But the thing is that there's so much. I mean, KLA can explain it better than me, but this is what I saw with my own eyes. That whole town just transformed. Every hotel room basically was filled in one night before the British soldiers even got there. So these women were renting out the rooms. to be ready for these men. And then when I had my honeymoon in Mombasa, I didn't like what I saw. So I saw a bunch of foreigners, and it wasn't the majority. It's never the majority. But I saw a bunch of foreigners that I knew that these guys were here for that. That these guys were here for that. And I remember the place that me and my wife stayed, we hung out because a lot of the hotels are on the beach. So we had one of the hotels on the beach. We're sitting by the pool, with all the tables and stuff. And there was 3 women to the right of us at a table. And we were there for like a good 4 hours. But, within the first hour, my wife said, those 3 women are prostitutes. And I asked her, I was like, well, how do you know that? She goes, well, because I'm from here and I could tell they're waiting for somebody to pick all 3 of them up. So no men approached them. So it wasn't the majority. No men approached them until about 4 hours later. One guy came up and he took all 3 of them to his room. And I was like, wow, I've never seen it like that before. I've never seen that. Like I've seen, you see a lot of this stuff in America, but I've never seen it like that, where one guy comes in and says, right in front of you on the street, and says, I'll take all 3 of you. So it's a real problem. And this is some of my experiences that I've noticed. And I missed a chat, but somebody in the chat, actually, no, I'll show you guys later if I remember. One of the video that we just saw, the second one, I want to go back to that webpage on YouTube. And this is 10 years ago, all these particular comments that were under that date. I want you all to hear what people were saying 10 years ago. But let's go ahead and go to the third video, because the third video has got just a little more information about this particular case and something that is debunked according to this case. So let's go ahead and watch that.
We are in the process of acquiring gear which will be used by these officers to protect, particularly body armor, night vision goggles, and other equipment to ensure that they are safe even as they execute this very dangerous mission we have entrusted on them. Still in Mombasa, the 11 young women, together with the foreigner who were arrested recently, have since been arraigned in court and remanded in custody, since they were not able to raise a release bond, which was required, of 100,000 and 1 million respectively. The case is still pending for hearing. However, a point to note here is that investigations so far have revealed that there was no crime of bestiality. The whole issue was unfortunately misreported by some sections of the media. There was no dog in that area, and these young women were not actually engaging in any sexual activities with the dog. That is something we really need to take note of. Conduct of demonstrations. Yesterday, Tuesday, 14th May, we witnessed a lengthy period of demonstrations outside the parliament buildings.
Okay, so the first 2 clips that I had you guys watch, the first one was from Citizen TV. The second one was from KTN TV. And if you notice, that gentleman said there was no dog involved. And I'm going to have to side more with the police investigation opposed to what the report said between those 2 medias. And if you notice, in front of him, the 2 mics that were sitting in front of this gentleman while he was saying this was both KTN and Citizen TV. So what does tend to happen, and there was even a lot of comedy jokes at that time when this was going on in May of 2013, they were making jokes about the dog. So that was the media that was throwing that in. So there was no dog. There was 11 women, but there was no dog. KLA, what do you have to say?
Yeah, because I'll go back to what you talked about, the military base. It's known as Batuk. It's the name of the military base. It's an international joint forces army base where any country who are friends to Kenya can come and train for whatever the amount of time they will agree with the government. So that is called Batuk, and in the city of, because it's in Nyanyuki town, and in Nyanyuki town there's a lot of rampant misuse of the women from the military and also from the personnel who are serving the military, but not on the capacity of as a military person, but on the capacity of being people who are there like service delivery, you know, maybe politicians who are coming there, and it's a big group. So with what you talked about the dog, yes, it's true. The police did the investigation. I want to also side with the police, that the police may not be biased on this. They might have given us the right information. Maybe they went through the laptops that they confiscated from the foreigner and checked the videos, and they saw none of it. And maybe even the women also confessed on that, because if there was an incident of bestiality, that could have even be a heavy case for all of them. So another point I want to add on is that sometimes also the media becomes mischievous. We had talked about it yesterday. The media becoming mischievous, not only the media companies, but the media personnel. That's where the problem is, because the media company does not go to the ground, but it is the media personnel that collects the news. So sometimes for it to get the traction, so they sometimes bring in these stories. And maybe it's not even about them, and also the society. Sometimes they also want this story to be like to be put out there, because they knew, but so they did not have a voice, and that is the problem. When you don't have the voice, people will tend to look for a way of to push such agendas, and this is how the agendas are always pushed out there.
Yeah.
To you back.
Yeah. You're right about that. It's unfortunate when we got to hear that, and basically, everybody, this was dubbed many times that this was the most embarrassing moment in Kenya for this type of crime. It was the biggest, most embarrassing moment for Kenya. Because I mean, it was such a big operation for what it seems to be one guy. And not only that, the big embarrassment part about it on that is that this guy worked for the UN. He was a former soldier of the Swiss Army, right? And he was able to over and over again overstay his visa. And that's a problem. It's like, okay, even in America, it's a problem to a point, but it's a problem that there should be some red flag at immigration saying, well, this person, obviously, because it's all computerized now, this person has not checked out at the airport, you know, because they always scan your passports. They scan your passports, and it knows when you come in and when you leave. So there should be some red flag saying, okay, we need to notify this guy or this woman that you've overstayed your visa. You know, you need to leave. And a lot of times, some places, they'll just arrest you, make you pay a fine, and you got to pay your own way back. You know, so what else did you have in mind? Because you said you were saying some things to me earlier before we got started, when we were conversing before this live. What else did you have in mind that we should actually be talking about?
Yeah, also we have just actually been discussing about the disadvantages that the passport bros are bringing into the society of Kenya. And maybe I also want, because I don't see any advantages with them bringing to Kenya. Maybe we might talk about the advantages, like maybe bring tourism, but it's not actually tourism. The tourism that they're bringing is just so negative, and it's just an erosion of the society back there. And so maybe the other thing that I wanted us to discuss about the impact you know, like the future, what are the implications that we can do or to mitigate this passport bro coming in. So I will think about maybe thorough scrutiny on the immigration laws in Kenya. Maybe a thorough investigation, because we can have a very nice immigration laws, but somebody might decide to do this on their own will. So how are we going to investigate? Are we going to investigate through the media? You know, like there are people bragging out there on YouTube, showing us what they are doing on Instagram, on TikTok. So are we going to use this media to investigate the people who are coming to Kenya? And another way, maybe because people are still going to come, are we going to let them know our values as they come? They act, they follow the values of Kenya and act in the values of Kenya. Are we going to assign them in this? Are we going to be that bureaucratical? You know, because we are avoiding a point whereby we are going to create many barriers. We are just opening the country, but we have to be. You have to be also be respected as a country, not forced. Yeah.
Yeah, you're correct. So I was getting a little busy here trying to make sure I find this. Now this that everybody's seeing on YouTube, this is from the second video. The second video with the blue background with the lady in the front, the newscaster. So what I want to do is actually read some of these comments, and I think there's only like 12 comments it says here. Read some of these comments, and this is all from 10 years ago. So actually, let me click in here. This is on 12 May 2013. So we have the first guy. He says, Elvis 1975T. He says, dog allegation is BS. And then we have Dory, and I think that's a woman. What the hell is this? I don't think these are women. Take them to the Hague, equal rights with sex animals, Jamani, Wadada, Mombasa. So I think that person was just being disrespectful with the whole situation. And then we have somebody else here that says, I can't blame the white guy because he didn't coerce the 11. So this is somebody that's basically siding with the passport bro. And you'll see this a lot. And this looks to be like maybe a Kenyan guy, or maybe it's just a Kenyan guy that's not siding with him, but is sick and tired of prostitutes being prostitutes, women just being so easy and not really working hard for less money and you know, not selling their, you know, they're selling the bodies opposed to not selling their bodies. We get a lot of that. We get a lot of that in Kenya. Apparently women who are actually, I'm not going to say that, trapped in human bodies. Look at how some stare at the cameras, maybe in 9 or is it the 3 months? I think he was trying to read off what the reporter was saying about the visa. They will give birth to puppy. Okay, so I'm not even gonna read that. That one's disgusting. I'm worried with Mombasa girls. One person says. This other person is saying those are bees. So that's somebody who just doesn't like women, obviously. They are grown-ass bees if they choose to have X with dogs for 3 Kenyan shillings cash. Who is to blame? Okay. So basically, so far, what some of these guys are saying, it's obviously men, but there's also this one woman, Josie, basically blaming passport broing on the women. There would be no prostitutes if there was no passport bros. So it's not about if there was no prostitutes, there wouldn't be passport bros. No, if there was no passport bros, there would be no prostitutes. That's the way it goes. It's not the other way around. And then we have another person here as being just as disgusting. Those dogs with 11. If he is not an African, American, or Asian, then they are right. He is European. Okay. And then we have another person here saying, it's high time Kenya dealt with foreigners seriously, especially those who abuse Kenyan rights in law. So that's like the best comment so far right there. Is that comment right there. Now this other person is kind of revealing what's going on in Nairobi. Also closed down sexual dens in downtown Nairobi that operate as strip clubs. But when you go there, it is nothing more than hardcore porn with naked women parading themselves as if they are in a cattle market. So that's very interesting. This is why our Kenyan society is slowly becoming evil, and soon, if we are not careful, so this is obviously somebody that cares about the situation as well. We are going to be the next Cambodia, where dollar-carrying tourists will come to have X with our 9-year-old daughters. And to be honest with you, whether this is a man or woman, you could probably look at the name there, KLA. This person is correct. This person is absolutely correct. It is about time we crack down on these aliens, and I have to totally agree with that. Two more. We got Fukuzi wa Moy sent Italians away when they brought homosexuality to Malindi. It is banned in these countries, but because we entertain them as tourists, that's the abuse we get. Shindwe. I'm not sure if that's Swahili or what. And the last person says, police have no command of language. White man, European, not white men. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean at the end. So KLA, reading those comments, can you kind of expound, if you know, about the one about the strip clubs in Nairobi?
Yeah, about the strip club in Nairobi, there's one famous one that has been mentioned on the media.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you search it, you can find it. It's called Sabina. It's been highly mentioned, and it's one of the ones it's been talked about there by the gentleman or the lady who was in the comment section, talking about how they are operating, and it's true. It's not only Nairobi.
You're starting to break up your audio.
For this.
Your audio is breaking up. Okay, KLA, what you probably want to do is you probably want to go out and come back in. All right, until he gets back, let me read a few of the chats that we have here. So let me go up a little bit. Okay, so let me start with Stevie. Mombasa is usually busy with prostitutes when those naval ships make port of call. Then Rosa Jackson says, that doesn't surprise me. Call Me Controversial says, we have a lot of Kenyan girls who drop out of school and go to Mombasa for prostitution, and most of them end up in Europe. That's why the majority can barely speak English. Yeah, my wife informed me about that a long time ago in the very beginning, that a lot of high school, after going out of high school, they go to Mombasa. Rosa Jackson says it sounds true. Stevie says police and DCI department usually contradict each other. Brenda Jimenez says it's not just people coming to Kenya, it's Kenyan men doing this too. Yeah, and but see, here's the thing. You're always going to have men in their own countries that are going to be involved with doing this, but we're concentrating on the passport bro, sexpat, sex tourists. It's all the same thing. Men going out of their way to get a passport to go to another country and do this. And yeah, they'll never be the majority in those countries, but there are many, and usually the most worst exploitation you can imagine comes from foreigners into somebody else's country. And so that's where the problem lies. And then if there's, a lot of these guys, they come with disease. A lot of Americans, they do come with disease to these countries, and they're willing to pay more to these women to not wear protection, even though they have a disease. So that's a problem, not just like, in the US where men are doing that. They also take that same mentality wherever they go overseas. So Rosa Jackson says, that's true. Men are men. Okay, let's go says, those comments, wow, shameful. Yes, they are. Most of them were shameful. And that was 10 years ago. Brenda Jimenez says, David Jr. took a video of the ladies of the night. Yeah, and I don't know how many videos he took, but the one I saw that I think it was on Trending or or Carol was showing. Actually, it was on Cleo Bonnie. A lot of those women, they were not even prostitutes. They were like on their lunch break, and it just happens to be in that area because the area is crowded. Most of the women around there are not prostitutes, but in that area, there's like little sections where the prostitutes hang out. So and he was calling those women who were not prostitutes. And I never saw that video before. I still haven't gone back to actually watch the whole thing, but I was disgusted. That could have been, my wife sitting down there at lunch, and he would have called her a prostitute. So it was disgusting. Angel says, so they're coming where the women live and solicit them. Yes. A lot of these guys that are the foreigners that are doing this, they solicit women in some of the most disgusting ways. And they get pissed off and sometimes cuss out these women if they turn them down. So it's a real issue. Rosa Jackson says, I remember that video. Call Me Controversial says, it actually, in actual sense, I really don't feel sorry for these Kenyan prostitutes. They have made those choices to drop out of school and chase little money for disgracing themselves. I agree with you as well. I have the same sentiment. However, they are not the predator. It's the man coming to the country seeking them out is the predator. Steve E says, Kenyan immigration aren't really focused. True story. I think I read that one. Now that's very shameful. Rosa Jackson. Brenda Jimenez says, I saw David Jr. Hold on one second. I got a call on the back. Okay, KLA is going to come back. He's just informed me that his internet dropped out. He's got that Poland internet. Don't tell him I said that, though. All right, so yeah. Let's continue here. Brenda Jimenez says, can't hear KLA. Was that during the whole live or just recently? Because he dropped out like 5 minutes ago. Brenda Jimenez says, okay, I read that one. Rosa Jackson said, oh no, that's so disgusting. Call Me Controversial says, very true. Rosa Jackson said, thank you for clarifying. Steve E said, arrest and not deport, but arrest, long jail term and heavy fine. Hey, Steve, you know what? I had this idea. I don't know how it would work. It's definitely be a very political thing. And I'm definitely not a politician, but I think people who commit crimes in other countries and then they get caught for their crime and they need to do that time in that country. If they're going to do that crime in that country, I think the country they come from, like the government, should give the government of that country that arrested that person some type of stipend to pay for their jailhouse stay, their prison house stay, because these countries are already pressed, a lot of them, for money that they have to pay just to keep prisons operating. And I think the country of origin, the government should have something in place, especially if it's a first world country, and pay for that person to do their time in that country. Because not all the time when they go back to their own country do they go to jail. So I think that would be implemented. I would totally stand by that if that could be implemented in any particular country. It wouldn't matter. All right. So still waiting for him to come back up. When he dropped out. Okay, when he dropped out. Thank you, Brenda. And then Call Me Controversial was laughing. So now that I showed that story from 10 years ago, a few people here remember that. I mean, let me ask you guys something. Let me like really seriously ask all of you something. If it was up to you and somebody who's a passport bro, they get caught for what they're doing, would you want them to serve time in that country where they got caught, or would you want them to serve the full time back in the country of origin? Let me know your thoughts on that. Because Stevie already made it clear. So I already got with Stevie, what he thinks about it. What about the rest of you? So Rosa Jackson says most foreign militaries personnel are under a status of forces agreement. Rosa, it sounds like you got experience in that. Can you just elaborate just a little bit on what that means? Like, are they not allowed to do anything? Like go away from the barracks, or what is that? Because I'll tell a quick story real quick. The town my wife is from, there was a point where the British soldiers were picking fights with the local men, and so there's British beating up Kenyans and Kenyans beating up British, and it got to the point where there was a curfew. I don't remember what year it was, but there was a curfew for the British soldiers. They couldn't go out, be out at a certain late time. So, and if I can remember correctly, I think it was over the local women, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know if some of these British soldiers were disrespecting them, but I remember one guy trying to eye my wife when I was with her coming out of a grocery store. And I just looked at him straight on. It's like, don't you dare. Don't you dare. So he respected me, but he was getting ready to, because they'll eye your woman. These British soldiers, they feel so emboldened in Kenya, they'll eye your woman. Okay, he's back. So I'm going to bring KLA back on, and I'm just going to read silently your guys' comments. All right, so KLA, go ahead and put your headphones back on because I can hear my voice on your side.
Okay. We are good to go. Sorry about that.
Okay, so yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and pick up where you left off.
Yeah, so I was talking about now I had to restart my phone, and I think I had to restart my memory, but it's all good. So we're talking about the passport bros, and we were saying that we not see any advantages they bring to the society or to our country, Kenya. They were actually just bringing deterioration of the society, the moral culture, the dating scene. We've talked all about that. And another point that I want to put out now is that they are cloud chasing with our own women, and that is bringing an issue not for only us as Kenyans, but also for the women later, when they realize that they have been used, they've been duped, they're just there for the views. And you know, right now there's a lot of cloud chasing, using people for views, doing some stuff for views, and sometimes now you can imagine the mental health of that person who has realized that somebody has been making money out of what they have been doing for fun, and this person has just not been serious about it. It was all about money, but the person has given all their 100% in having a relationship with you. So there's a mental torture towards the cloud chasing. So the passport bro come with to our country.
Okay. Now I was asking everybody, I don't know if you heard when you were trying to come back in, what would you prefer? If a passport bro got, arrested for passport broing in your country, would you want him to serve his full jail sentence in Kenya or back in the country where he came from?
Okay, this is my opinion, and it's very personal opinion. If I am a Kenyan and I happen to do what a passport bro does, where am I prosecuted? Where am I jailing? In Kenya, as a Kenyan. So the same law should apply to the passport bro for heinous crimes that they commit in the Republic of Kenya. Then he should be prosecuted and arraigned in Kenya. These are all my own opinions.
Okay. And also, this wasn't a question I was bringing up in anybody, but it was just a thought because I've thought of it over the years.
Might be saying the same. Might be saying so.
Yeah. What do you think my idea of If a passport bro is caught passport bro in Kenya, do you think the country of origin where he comes from, do you think the government should pay the Republic of Kenya a stipend to pay for his stay in jail while he's in jail in Kenya? Hello?
Yes, I think they should pay so that they will feel the impact their citizens are doing to another country. And also that will create a sensitization in the government to let people know that it is wrong to go to a country and do something wrong, because it is us who are going to suffer this, and the government is going to pay, and that means your taxes are going to be increased. So that will help in toning down this kind of behavior.
Right. And I think that in all honesty, this should actually this issue, at least with American citizens, since I'm going to speak for America on this, for American citizens, that the actual embassy, you know, they have an FBI office, and this is a crime that is punishable internationally. You go you go out for prostitutes in another country, and if you're caught for it, you can do time back in America. That's actually an actual law. It's not just for prostitution. There's all kinds of crimes that if you commit a crime overseas as an American citizen, you will do time back if the evidence is there and everything. Just like if you got caught here and the evidence is there, you will do the time. Now, I think it was you that was towards the beginning. I think you were the one saying that, why are these guys, you know, like getting away? Actually, it was somebody in the chat pretty early. I think they left. I think the last part of their name was Philippines. Why are the passport bros getting worse or something like that? Well, I'll tell you why, is because there's a lot of them. And then you also, you know, you got to have the burden of proof. Sometimes they'll go off the words of what these guys say, but still there's the burden of proof. So basically what people have to do is they have to turn these people in. When you actually turn them in for the crimes that they commit, you know, within your own countries, then the American authorities, this is also what happens sometimes with American citizens, by the way. They'll get caught in a country for doing some type of crime. They'll do the full time in that country. And then when they go back to America, they have to do the full time there too. So they get double duty in jail.
Do another. Yeah.
Right. Because, you know, the whole thing is America, you know, as bad as America looks right now, you know, with politics and stuff, you know, around the world. One thing that they put on us as American citizens, the laws are pretty straightforward, and they're pretty strong. And basically they don't want us as citizens to go out and make the country of America look bad. Now, one thing that I think that should be done and should be changed is that there's got to be some type of education, maybe starting in high school or something, that, you know, needs to be taught. Like, if you do this is the American law that will put you in prison if you do something like this in another country.
To do something wrong.
Right. And I remember, you know, not in every school I went to a lot of different schools. My dad moved me around. And I remember some schools, some teachers anyway, would emphasize, you know, on what could get you in trouble, just locally, what can get you in trouble and how to stay out of trouble. And I don't know if schools are teaching that these days, you know, but not every school I went to was doing that. There was just a few. I think the responsibility of public education in America, since it's free, they should implement this type of education within the schools, because, you know, it's not the majority of people, and it's not the majority of young men they're going to desire to be a passport bro when they get older. And by the way, you know, a lot of older men who go after prostitutes in this country, they like to influence younger men to do what they do. And it's an unfortunate thing, but we call a lot of these guys, you know, like old heads or whatever. They're just guys that never really succeeded much in life, or may had a, you know, failed marriage, which again, they didn't succeed for whatever reason it is. and they go after a lot of women, you know, of the night. And then they basically brag about going with these women and try to brag to young men and teach them like, hey, you know, we look up to these guys. We don't have a good, strong father figure at home. We're going to look to who's ever on the street to like teach us our values. And that's unfortunate. You know, it's not really, most of the time, it's not really, you know, the community is trying to protect everybody. Like it takes a village to raise a child. There's not really that mentality. There's a few places in America like that, but not too many. So that's a big problem that we have over here. And I know in the UK, by talking to a lot of people in the UK, that's the same issue over there as well. But in Kenya, Kenya's got its own issues, but that doesn't seem to be a big problem with what I just described right there. I never heard of like older men trying to teach young men that are coming up to go chase prostitutes. I don't know if that's a thing. Maybe you can shed some light on that, but I've never heard it. KLA, what do you say about that?
Yeah, it's true. We don't have such a kind of behavior from the older society, actually teaching the younger society things that are going to make the society degrade. So only what I know about the old generation will teach is to give good values and to show direction. And I've never had actually myself also for any reason such kind of behavior being practiced. But I know that the older society has been guiding the younger society on what to do. And on the comment section, I've not been paying attention. I've seen one question being asked by Kosengeng. This is, he said, what crimes though? Unless they exploit young children, then it's condescending adults. However, immortal act will immortal the act be. Okay, okay, you have already mentioned crimes. So a crime is a crime. It doesn't matter it's small or big. If it's already a crime, even if it's on a condescending with a condescending adult, but it becomes a crime, like in Kenya, I know right now there's still a debate of the LGBTQ, and it can fall into a crime. You can condescend into it, but it can become a crime.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
it depends. If when you put the crime in it, it's already a crime. But now expounded it, yeah. When you expounded it, like if it's exploitation of children and also exploitation, don't forget exploitation of women. You know, it's the adult might be condensed and exploit, because you remember the Swiss man. You join in later. We did the video. This maybe Kung Fu Fanta will play it for us, but the video before, you could see they are saying they're prosecuting him for misuse of prostitution. You see, misuse of, you know, that act.
Yeah.
So I wanted to expand on that and what Konsengeng mentioned.
Was that the first video from Citizen where the sheik was talking?
One, I think.
The second one? Okay. Do you want me to play that again?
Where they actually did with the English version, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe should play it for them so that he will listen to this.
Okay, no problem. So for those, some of you have already seen this, but some of you probably just came in. So let's go ahead and watch the one that he's talking about, and we can expand on it.
And police are pursuing a Kenyan woman who is said to be an accomplice to a foreigner who was arrested with 11 women shooting pornographic movies in Mombasa. Kisiaoni DCIO Shadrach Juma says that the woman was working hand in hand with that foreigner for the last few months. KTN's Angel Katusia reports on this latest development on the controversial incident. The
The 12 people, among them 11 Kenyan women and a foreigner who were arrested allegedly shooting a pornographic movie with a dog in a posh house in Mombasa's Nyali area, await the court's process. Police are pursuing a Kenyan woman who is said to be an accomplice to the man. Kisauni DCIO Sheldrak Juma says the woman, believed to be from Karatina in Nyeri County, has been working with the man.
I have to charge this white man along with 11 girls with various offenses relating to pornographic practices, and the other one would be exploitation of prostitutions, which is contrary to section 17B of the Sexual Offences Act.
Police have also revealed that the foreigner, who is a former Swiss military officer, arrived in the country in March this year and is expected to be in the country for 90 days. Though his passport indicates he should be in the country for 3 months, the man is said to have rented this house for 46 million shillings for a 2-year period. According to police, the man started his business of shooting pornographic movies in Nairobi before moving to Mombasa. During a raid in the rented house, police discovered 15 laptops which have been transferred to the CID headquarters for investigations. Police are also investigating why the man who worked for the UN is still using a car with UN number plates despite having completed his contract at the UN. Religious leaders at the coast have condemned the alleged actions of the foreigner and called on the youth to deviate from such lifestyles.
For us Christians, any form of immorality between men and women, or men alone and men and animals, it's not compatible with our faith.
Deputy President William Ruto said the government will not tolerate foreigners who come into the country to perpetrate vices such as pornography, a message echoed by the government spokesman.
Tumemwambia watu wa internal security, watu kama hawa hawafai kuwa katika taifa letu la Kenya. Wapandishwe ndege waende kwao.
The government is not going to hesitate from getting hold of you in keeping with the terms of the law, be you a Kenyan or a foreigner.
The 12 face several sexual offense charges and will appear in court again on Tuesday. Angel Katuse, KTN, Sunday night.
Okay, KLA, you're back. Go ahead and expound on what the speaker said. Expand, excuse me, on what he said. Okay, your microphone is.
So you could hear the
Okay.
penal code has been mentioned, Kosengenya. So these are adults who are. Is it still on? You can hear me?
No, the video is already done.
There.
I can hear you.
Am I still
Yeah,
there?
you're still there.
Oh, okay. No, and I was just trying to comment on the on yes. So you could see these are adults. These are ongoing university students. They have consented with the Swiss citizen to do the acts that they were doing in that particular home, and also you could see the person has been rented the house. So there was a lot of adulthood condescending, but the thing is that there were crimes that the country do not agree with such acts being done in the country. So you could see they are adults, yes, but there's a crime in it, and already that becomes something that you could be taken to court for.
Right, and I want to answer Verve's statement. It's already in law. There's no sex tourism that's allowed. The only thing I would say to your statement is just add the wording add the wording of passport bro if there's going to be anything added to the law, because it's already in law and it's been in law for decades. So the law is there. It just needs more enforcement.
Yes.
And
But,
okay, let's go is right. It
you
needs
know,
to be.
such kind of conversation that we are having today. Yeah, these are the conversation that the government now should be hearing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people in the chat agree. It should be taken more seriously, because I mean the whole thing of human trafficking is globally a very serious thing.
The passport bro is a new. Yes, the passport bro.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I
I think you got a delay. I think you got a delay. How about if I drop you down and then you come right back? Because I think you got a delay in the audio.
Concept that has just come in, and it looks so fancy and so confusing, even for our legislators to understand. Oh, okay. So,
all right. Well, we instead of putting you down and bringing you back up, just go ahead and speak what you want, and then when you stop talking, okay. We're going to close out this pretty soon, so I was just hoping to get some last thoughts here from KLA. All right, so let's see here. So if you leave it up to individuals, the individuals may or may not be in the knowledge and consensual. All right, and then this was pornography, pure and simple. Yes, yeah, most definitely. Passport bro is not new, just the name. Yeah, correct. Actually, the name was jargon for a long time, but it's being used as if it's something new. It's being used as being called a movement, and it's actually not a movement. There's a whole fake story of a movement behind it. American men sick and tired of American women. That's just nonsense. KLA, go ahead.
yeah, so as I see somebody has responded to what I was saying. So the passport bro is something new. It's something confusing, and seems to be some, like the first moment you think about it, you might be thinking maybe it's good for the country that we are having people from America visiting. But what we are overlooking our eyes, or overlooking the whole situation, is that people are coming for sex tourism. People are coming to exploit the women. People are coming to devalue our customs and traditions, and also people are coming to have quote unquote a situation whereby we are going to be fighting and start saying, there's one thing with Kenyans, we like too much stereotyping. So if the Americans come and do something wrong, there will be a stereotype towards American. There's already a stereotype towards an African country I wouldn't want to mention today, but there's already a stereotype towards an African country to be at a particular a particular person, so that when you see or hear that this person is from that country, you'll be like, no, not you. So it is also worrying to have this passport bro being elevated and given that priority, like it's something big, or it's something that it's the best thing that has ever happened to Kenyan society. But the reality is eating us. The community is suffering. The country is in a hard rock and a hard place. So I think the government should just categorize passport bros into those areas laws that they are committing, and agree that the passport bro are just part of what we had made law about, and it's not something new. Thank you.
Yeah, and also I wanted to, if I ever hear this one particular passport bro say this again, I'm going to record it because he said it a few times on other people's panels as well as his own YouTube channel. What he had said, he wants to, and he even said that, and he's married, by the way, that his wife said it's okay for him to do it, that he's in Kenya off and on, and he doesn't own any land, but he's got like from what he said, a 50-year leasehold land. So he's not a citizen. He can't own land in Kenya, but you can buy a leasehold. So he's got leasehold land for 50 years. And what he has said at least twice that I've heard him say this over the course of a year, he wants to spread his seed all over Africa as much as possible. And he's got a 12-year-old daughter.
Yeah, that's true. A foreigner cannot own freehold land. He can only own land that is on freehold, on leasehold. Sorry.
Yeah. So, but here's there's the mentality of this of one, just one, and this same guy that I'm talking about during COVID, he took his video down, but I had downloaded it a couple of years ago. He went through the Malindi airport because that's where the leasehold land is. And Malindi, by the way, is one of the coastal areas of Kenya. He bribed the police, and he bragged about bribing the police so he wouldn't have to wait in line like everybody else for the whatever the COVID checks were in 2020. And this is the same guy that says he wants to spread his seed all over Africa. And the reason why he took it down, because somebody obviously warned him that this can get him in trouble. This can get him deported, you know. And basically he's trying to get other people to come to Kenya for their own personal reasons, but he's trying to get other people to come to Kenya. And some of them, of the people that he's trying to get to come to Kenya, are passport bros. And I remember in another live stream, he said once.
One thing I also identified that.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Just continue. I'll mention that it's an addition point.
Okay, so the same guy, I remember him in one of his own live streams once. He was telling one of the guys in the chat, talking about he has a maid, so he's got like an Airbnb in Nairobi. So when he lands in Nairobi, he has his own little place to go. And he was telling the guy in the chat, and he goes, "Yeah, I got a maid." Now he didn't say that he did anything with the maid, but he goes, "These women here, they'll date you. They'll date you." And the guy in the chat is like, "I got like $2,000 that I just want to smash with." So he wants to buy prostitution. So he basically told the guy and the whole audience, "Yeah, they'll date you." And what he's talking about is dating for prostitution, not dating as boyfriend, girlfriend, because the guy in the chat wasn't interested in finding a wife. He wasn't interested in finding a girlfriend. He was interested in coming to Kenya so he can exploit. That was it. Go ahead, KLA.
So my additional point is that I've also discovered that, yes, I've also discovered that this mysterious have their own private channel whereby it is not meant for the public, but it's meant for the person who is looking for this type of videos. When you see somebody has membership, and in that kind of membership, the videos that they have been posting, it's too much, and they're explaining core details of what is happening on the ground. This somebody should be taken very seriously, because I know one that is who was in Kenya and is doing this.
Right, exactly. And I don't know if you ever seen this one particular newsreel that I saw. It's probably 2 years ago already, where a young, and she had to be 16 or 17. She, with her, it was consensual, but she ended up dating a Chinese guy that was working on the highway, the super highway. So she got pregnant, and had a little kid, and she in this news feed that she was walking up and down the construction site of this freeway that they were building, trying to look for the father. And by that time, she was already 18. And by that time, either he's in another part of Kenya, he's probably left Kenya back to China. So, and that wasn't, well, I would still say that he used her in the terms of sex tourism, because he definitely wasn't looking at her as a girlfriend or a wife. And plus she was underage. So what the problem is that a lot of these guys, like I said before, they'll pay a little more money to not use protection. So not only are they at risk of getting something, they're at risk of giving a woman something, and then of course getting her pregnant. And a lot of these guys, a lot of these passport bros, they are looking for underage. Like I said, so some of these conversations I've heard them speak, and what they admit, a lot of these women are underage and they admit it. And then they'll say stupid stuff like, well, the country that they go to, the age of consent is 16. It may be 16, but as an American citizen, for you as an American citizen, the age of consent is still by American law, not Columbia law or wherever it is 18. You know, and in Kenya, it's 18 as well. So these guys will still argue that point, even in some of the countries where the consent is 18. I've heard them argue that point too. It's 18, but then they'll say, well, back in this other country, it's 17 or 16. You're not in that other country, and you're still an American citizen. KLA, go ahead.
Yeah, I also saw somebody on the comment section, Sharon. He said, have you find out if the drugs and is involved in this new trade of doing things? Yes, drugs is involved. We've seen many videos from the passport bros who have come to visit not only Kenya, also visit our neighbor country, Tanzania and Uganda. And you could see them partying, because the one particular thing you have to know, the passport bros, they believe they will find easy, they'll find women on the clubs. So there's too much partying, there's too much use of, I don't know which kind of drug they use, but alcohol is part of a drug. The other drugs that they're using, I'm not sure, but the main one is alcohol, and we know it's evident, you can see from the videos. And that is a motivator of, you are using this to catch up on the women. You're going to the club, so it means you have to buy the woman the drink, you have to buy them whatever they want, so that you could coerce them into your own way. Because sometimes it's absurd. Like these women who are arrested, you could wonder what was the motivation to go to this one man. It's only one man with around 15 to 11 women. What was the motivation? Is it money? And how, even if it's about money, what really convinced them? It can be money, but there has to be another second thing to convince you to go to such actions. Back to you, Mr. Kung Fu.
Yeah, yeah, I really think you're on to something that's real there. It does take something else, because you always have to go back to that famous quote. If you're in your right mind, and you had a job or you had the money already, you wouldn't be doing things like this.
True.
So again, the man was playing on people's plight. Which even in America, there's people that play on people's plight. They ain't got a lot of money, so they basically exploit them because of that fact, just so they can get something out of them. And sometimes it's not always money. Sometimes it's gadgets. It's like a laptop or a GoPro camera or whatever. You know what I mean? It's right. Or maybe
a ticket to Sauti Sol concert.
Yeah, that's what I was. Well, I was going to say a ticket, maybe. Yeah. I was going to say a ticket, maybe to another country, like on a vacation or something. But yeah, even for something like that,
they will get green card. Yeah. You can imagine. You can imagine some America that green card.
So Brenda says, talking as a woman, it's money. Yeah. And but again, you know, let's not forget that when the guy let's put it this way. A prostitute in Kenya doesn't know if a guy is coming to Kenya, an individual, for prostitution. But the guy who buys his ticket to go to Kenya or any other country for the purpose of prostitution knows he's going there for prostitution. So I have to emphasize this, that man that goes there and does that, he is the predator. He's the one coming with the money so he can be a predator on the female population. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop it right here. KLA will come back on. Me and him will talk behind the scenes. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. I did want to make this less than 2 hours. It's an hour and 45 minutes into it already. We got 20 people here. If you haven't liked the live stream so far, please go ahead and give it a like. I'm taking likes as a donation. So yeah, I'll beg for a like. So let's see here real quick here. The US, they get car money, trips, clothes, you name it. Yeah, that's true. And a lot of women from not just Africa, but all over the world are also being enticed to do gruesome things in Dubai. So they get plane tickets and everything and a big lump sum of money to do some of the most sickest things. And that story has already been exposed like 2 years ago. So it's not just Kenya, but we're concentrating on Kenya today. But it's just a worldwide problem. And we just really need, like I said, I think it was on Trending's live stream the other day. You know, don't sell your or Carol's or Bonnie's. Don't sell your values for anybody. You know, really, don't sell your values for anybody, because you could get a disease out of it. You could get an unplanned pregnancy out of it. Some of these guys will take your life, even if they're visiting you in your country. Some of them, if they get angry at you, they can take your life. Some of them do that. So you could say the percentages are low, but there's so many problems that come with these men coming to your particular country and doing this. So outside of that, everybody, again, thank you everybody for coming in. This is Kung Fu Fanta channel. I'm Mr. Nice, and I'm out.